This is the Passive 25K podcast, a podcast built around the vision of creating wealth through passive income for ourselves and others. The idea of creating income while you sleep seems like a dream come true, but for most professionals, turning this into a reality is a different story. On this show, you will hear real people breaking passive income streams down to the basics, giving you the next steps to start your own passive income journey. If you're new to the show, my name is Kyle Reedstrom from Fargo, North Dakota, where I get to work with my team of agents and investors each day to complete our goal of $25,000 a month in passive income. Now, let's get right into our next conversation. This is the Passive 25K podcast with Kyle Reedstrom. I'm excited to dive deep into our topic of franchise secrets today with our guest, Cooper Wahlo. Cooper, good to have you, man.
Kyle, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my man. Okay, so Cooper, this is such an interesting topic matter. Franchising. Everybody sees them all over, driving past them, and they're owned by people. They're owned by business owners. They're owned by entrepreneurs, investors, and nobody really knows how they all work. I mean, I think I speak for many of us that are in the audience here. And I'm just curious. I want to start off by asking you how you got into this space in the world of franchising.
Yeah, so I will start off and say I'm still learning. I'm still new in the franchise world, so I'll do my best to answer the secrets. Right?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. So how I got into Mahana Fresh or franchising in general. It was a couple years ago. I was like 28, and I was working a job. My second kid was on the way. I was bouncing on the weekends, and I just told myself I don't know if I want to keep doing this for an infinite amount of time because time is limited. So I was like, you know what? I want life for myself and my family to look completely different by the time I'm 40.
Wow.
So what do I need to do? At the time, I was currently investing in some real estate. I had 4 rentals in Macon, Georgia. They were okay. I mean, they weren't phenomenal or anything, but it was just something for me to just jump into and take action with. Mm-hmm. And that was, I set this plan for myself, this 4-year or this 10-year goal for myself, where I would buy X amount of real estate to cover my expenses and then cover my income, and then 36, 37 look to buy into a business. That was my plan I put together for myself at the end of 2019. And so that I just was rolling with that, just kept looking for deals, see if I can get another one. And then I am also an avid podcast listener. And one of the podcasts I listened to, Bigger Pockets Business Podcast, had a guy on there talking about why you should franchise. And I was like, this is weird. I don't ever get emails because I got an email from it. So I was like, this is weird, but it's definitely in my alley, like what I'm trying to do. So let's just look into it. So I heard the guy talk on there about Mahana Fresh, talked about the concept, cash flow, being able to cash flow on a daily basis, just different things that made sense to me. I was like, yeah, you can put your investment and potentially get that back 2-fold, 3-fold in the first year, So I was like, okay, let's look into it. So I listened to the podcast. I looked into the concept. I was like, that looks pretty good. There's nothing like this in Fargo, at the time, and like end of 2019, beginning of 2020. So I was like, okay, I like this idea. So I reached out to a couple of business owners that I'm friends with. Everybody loved it. So I was like, okay, well, let me reach out to the individual that was on the podcast. Let me reach out to him and just see. He had his Instagram handle, had like 10,000 followers, but the whole thing, I was like, there's no way he's going to reach back out to me. That's just my thought process. So I'm just like, I'm still going to take a shot. So I basically sent him like my whole life story, what I'm doing, what I'm about. Would love to hear more. And, before that, within the hour, he reached out to me. We set up a phone call. He explained to me, just the process, the system. And funny thing is, he wasn't even trying to sell me on Mahana. He was like, I would love to like be a resource for you to find a franchise that matches you. And, I was like, hey, I appreciate you looking out for me, but I called you specifically to talk about Mahana. Like I didn't call you to talk about other franchises, because at the time they didn't have anything in the Midwest. And I was like, I feel like there's a big opportunity here with this food. And so we talked through that. But yeah, he basically gave me the blueprint, what I had to get ready, what I had to show. And then once I had those things in place, he would basically be able to give me to the franchise developer, who's the individual that brings on like potential franchisees. They take them through the process. So yeah, so that's the long of the beginning of the story.
Man, there are so many things I love about what you just said, Cooper. Number one, I just want people to hear you were curious after listening to a podcast like this and you took action to the point where you actually reached out to the guest on the podcast, which he responded, which I think is so many people think that that's a rare thing. But think if someone reached out to you, Cooper, like you'd be like all about it and talk to him and be passionate. Exactly. And I mean, it led to such a breadcrumb trail of you getting to where you're at right now. And the other part that I want to mention is the vision that you cast for yourself, man. That was so unique that you said, hey, you know what? I want something different. You were spelling out what a lot of us that listen to this podcast and are part of, the world of passive income, a financial freedom goal is what you're talking about. And this is part of the journey. And one of the things too, man, I put the cart before the horse and I need to read your bio, so the audience knows who you are, but I was just too excited. Yeah. I just jumped right into it. So I want to give a quick little bio on Cooper Wahlo, but you just heard some of the awesome nuggets that he's sharing. But Cooper Wahlo, originally from Woodbury, Minnesota, but has lived in Fargo for the last 13 years, attended NDSU where he played football and met his now wife of 7 years. Cooper works full-time at ECI as a manager, bounces downtown on the weekends, and most recently became a restaurant franchisee by opening up Mahana Fresh in Fargo, which literally my favorite restaurant. And I'm not just saying that. Cooper, you know that I'm there like all the time. So, Cooper also loves to work out, study real estate, and is one of the most high energy and motivated people you will meet, which I can vouch for. Him and his wife also have 3 young children that definitely keep you busy as well. So that's a little bit of background on you after you've explained what got you into this franchise world. Yeah. But man, this was all a product of your vision for change in the way your finances work and the way your lifestyle works, right? Like this was the build up to, hey, I wanna make a move here.
Yeah, exactly. And I would be honest, like there was a time there from 2016 to 2018, I just stopped setting goals for myself. I literally, I graduated in 2014 and I moved so quickly up the ladder at my current job. I just was like, okay, like I'll just kind of coast, 401k, like again, nothing wrong with the 401k. I have my thoughts, but I just kind of coasted. And then for 2 years, I was just kind of just coasting. And then we built our first place here in Horace. And then I was like, well, it's going to be a little tight a little bit. I would rather just pick up a second job. That's where the bouncer on the weekends came in. And then that's just when my head started turning a little bit. Like, there's no way I want to do this for forever. Like, there's got to be a different way. And that's where those questions led me.
Man, I love it. And I think there's a huge there's a lot of resonation for our audience when it comes to finding some of those ruts, especially through the pandemic and everything that happened in this last 4 or 5 years. People find themselves in a place where, to put it lightly, comfortability, and you said, I stopped setting goals. It wasn't a product of you being unmotivated. It was actually a product of you successing your way into a comfy spot, if I'm not mistaken, but kudos to you for ripping off the Band-Aid and saying, hey, I want more. I want great, not just good. You know what I mean? Okay, and so then you got into this. You go down the rabbit hole with Mahana Fresh, the mentor there. You took action there. And then I really want to get into the details on what this process looked like, because I think this is where a lot of people are wondering, how the heck does this work? So,
Yeah.
so you had a touch point, and you obviously, it started with a who, not how, which I love.
Yep.
That's a person that you reached out to. And yeah, take it from there. I really want to get granular on how these steps worked, because I'm super curious.
Yeah. So basically after we had the phone call, I put different things in place, right? So like obviously I'm thinking like, okay, we got SBA loan, we got to show certain things on paper. And so like I don't know how many people know this, but I have a business partner that came on with me as well, Caleb Carlson. So he's also in this with me. And he came on, just kind of was interested, same thing. Was just interested, we feed off each other pretty well. And so he was just kind of going along for the ride, but I knew he also is someone that big thinker, he's got assets, so he would help me push this, over the edge when we, got to getting a loan. But so after I talked to him, it was just now me just studying Mahana, like what they're about, I did a couple presentations that with them, they showed me, just what the brand was about. And so I did that from March to May. And again, this was like 2020. This was COVID has just started, and like people don't know, things are getting shut down. And so I had a couple other real estate deals I was in the middle of transactions with. And I was like, okay, I got these real estate transactions. I got Mahana Fresh. I just told myself, like, whatever this next move is out of this COVID needs to be my best move ever. So I cut all the real estate off. I just like, hey, with everything going on, I'm not sure. I will, get my earnest money back, things like that, just so I could really focus on Mahana Fresh. Because I also have, shiny object syndrome. And so I get distracted really easily, right? And so at the same time, I told my wife, like, hey, keep me focused on this, like just anything that comes in, like you have full reign to just block it out. And there was a couple of things that came in, I was like, wanted to do it. And she's like, nope, we're not doing any focus here. So I did my research for a couple months there, March to middle of May. And it was time to like now finally go meet the team and actually try the food. And this was also more so for my wife to come on board, because my wife is more so a controller, more process, more security, more like she's just not a big risk taker. I'm all about taking risks. So like I knew if my wife can come on board, that's one check. Now I don't have to fight her. She's like on board and understands it. So like we took the trip in May 2020 to Tampa, Florida, to actually meet the team, meet the people, and try the food. And that was awesome. Like it was awesome. Everything I thought it would be. It was great. It was phenomenal. My wife fell in love with the team and the food. And so we came back, and I was, it was great, but I also knew if I wanted to be able to market to a wide audience, I had to bring my kids with. My kids have to try this. And so they had a grand opening in Idaho Falls in August of 2020. And I've never been out that way. So, took the kids out. We made it a whole thing. We went to Yellowstone, like did the whole thing. That was my first time being out there, so it was cool. But the main purpose of the trip was for my kids to try this. And if they love it, then we got something that we can, market to a big audience. So they came along, they devoured it. They loved it. And so after August came, or after the trip, I talked to Caleb. I said, hey, this is it. Like this, we need to, I'm all in. Like, and there's a point, and we talked, I said, once we sign this line, because we also then had to go through the franchise document disclosure where you look at everything from, financials, if there's any like issues that they're going through. It's just like you get an open book to the franchise. You can call different franchisees, which I did. So I did all that during this 3 to 4 month window as well. So I was, I talked to the franchisor, I talked to the president. Like you're once you get in with the franchise developer, you have like a 3 to 4 months, and I think sometimes they go longer too, but you have a time there that you can actually do your due diligence. That's what I was doing.
Gotcha.
Talking to franchisees, talking with the franchisor, the president, just getting a feel like how everyone that was in, how they were doing. So I did that for 3 to 4 months. And then after my kids went out there, they saw it, they loved it. And Caleb and I, we made the jump, and we bought into the franchise. And so that's how we became, we were technically official August of 2020. That's when we signed our document to become official Mahana Fresh franchisees.
Okay, man.
So there's more, but I can stop and.
No, dude, I want to let you keep going. A couple quick hitter questions. Was that like an open region that you were able to like buy? Is that how franchisees work, or like or is it just like they give you an option in one location? How does that work?
So it's like it's a tier. So you can either buy a 3-pack, or then you get like an area that you can develop. And at least for Mahana, I think it's probably close to the same with other franchises, but it's kind of the same concept. So we just bought one area, and you're really just buying the right to use their product in an area. That's really all you're doing. Yep.
Gotcha. So it's like, if I was going to make an analogy here, it's like building your house in a development. You just kind of gotta, you get to use their products. You have to follow their covenants for the rules and everything, but it's still your house, your business. You're painting the walls. Well, technically you're not painting the walls different colors, but I think it's essentially you're running the show. It's just you can use their products.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
And dude, so much of it that I'm hearing, which it's funny because there's a paradox in my mind. I'm thinking franchise, I'm thinking investment, I'm thinking passive income, I'm thinking what do the numbers look like? But you keep talking about the food. The food has to hit. My kids have to love the food. My wife has to love the food. She falls in love with the food. Man, the food has to matter. Talk to me. It sounds obvious, but honestly, I think of owning a McDonald's franchise versus a Mahana Fresh franchise. Talk to me about the difference in like identifying with the brand and aligning with the values of like healthy food versus just having a McDonald's that, not to hate on McDonald's, but they're not making you healthier overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that was the big thing, right? And before I reached out and really went in, I just said like, I'm a healthy guy. Like I love to work out. Like I want to be able to do something that I can fully support, and again, nothing to knock on McDonald's. Like, they're one of the more successful brands, whatever, you want to say about them. But like, I can't be going to the gym and then like putting on my story, like, hey, go crush a McDonald's burger with fries. It just, it just doesn't go. Like, it just doesn't match me. Right. And, so I just felt like, oh, this is something that's healthy. Like, I feel like this would be something definitely I can, put myself behind fully, really commit to these guys because they got a more healthier product that's fast, that's quick. And that it was just different. Right. And the other thing was at the time, like, I feel like COVID helped this a little bit. It's like people are just becoming more aware of what they're putting in their body. They're just, with everything in the world that's going on, people are just a little bit now more aware. But again, there's really no places for them to go, really. Like, that it's a great idea, but there's no place that is offering. So like, I knew that was also something as well. But I just felt like, hey, if I'm gonna come in, like the products have got to be great, and my wife and my kids have to love it because I want them to also be part of this journey. This is going to be something that's going to take X amount of my time. I want them to be on the ride with me, And so that was why it was so important for me to just be able to identify with the brand and bring my family on as early as I did. So like they would understand when I'm working these crazy hours, these crazy nights, they can understand like, oh, Yep, we know exactly what he's working towards. So,
Yeah, that's a huge the heart piece behind it. That's what I hear. And so much of investing, we have a lot of the head that's working in our favor to get return on our investment, make good decisions. But there's always a hard aspect. There's always humanity behind investing. And that's what I hear here, man, with your family being a part of it. So then you called up leadership. You're talking to everybody all the way to the top, different franchisees around, the different areas. How many Mahana Fresh stores are there nationwide, by the way?
So we are the 8th. Fargo is the
Okay.
8th location. Yep.
Cool. And then you sign the dotted line, like you're in on this thing. You did your due diligence. Okay, so then what's kind of the process look like after that?
So after we sign, then it's time to look for real estate. And so Mahana, they have a third party real estate firm that they use. And so these guys, they pull up all the numbers you could think of, like from credit card use to foot traffic to average household income, like college degree. Like I was like, whoa, okay. But like what's cool about it, and this is why I also thought getting in with the newer franchise is these guys also want to grow the brand as well. And so they are willing to give and take on certain things, where like if you go in with a more established brand that's got their processes and systems down, they're not budging on anything, if anything, right? So the real estate process, they pull up X amount of locations, but they really leave it up to the franchisee to kind of pinpoint where in the city they should be looking towards. And so we just felt, we were looking around and we were just like, well, we feel like that, like veterans, that side of town is definitely booming. It's expanding. Let's zero in there and see. And like once they pull up the data there, from what they saw, it was definitely the right spot. So we did that. Actually, we ended up going with a spot that I knew the landlord at the time, and it was funny. We had a space or 3 spots picked out, and he's a mentor to me now, but he just reached out to me, asked me what I was doing, and he was seeing all the Mahana Fresh, and he was like, hey, I own this space just a couple blocks down. And I was like, yeah, I can let Mahana Fresh know. And so I let them know, and they pulled up his location, brought it up. And so we worked with him on his space. And so once we had a space locked up, then it was the loan. The loan. The loan took us, I would say, about 7 to 8 months to close on a loan. And it was, again, I don't know if we're going to touch on this, but like you read in all these books, like relationships, like build relationships. I got my loan towards the end because of my relationship I had built with a few key people. But before we got to that point, I had talked to probably 8 to 10 banks, right? Wow. And they all like shut me down. They, some of them kind of stalled a little bit. And it was funny. I didn't even reach back out to my mentor about it because, he was kind of waiting on us to get a loan. And I was like, oh, I don't want to bug him. Like, and then this was like February of 2021. And he reached back out like, hey, how's the loan coming? Where you guys at? And we needed to talk. So I went, talked to him, went to his office, and we just chatted. And so he texted one of his banks that he does business with. He texted him, and the guy then texted me at the bank. And he's like, when can you meet? This was a Tuesday. I was like, we can meet tomorrow. This is a Wednesday. I've already got my documents, everything ready to go. Got my business plan. I've been through 10 banks. I got everything ready. So and literally I went to these guys and they saw the plan. They closed the loan in like 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Man, you worked in the real estate realm of things. You've invested before, and now this was getting a loan for a business. Was there pretty big differences when a bank is looking at this? Obviously, it kind of came to a head when you had the right relationship, but You just had to have a lot of things in place for these banks to look at you seriously?
I would say so. And I also think because we had to go through the SBA as well,
Oh, yes.
that was also a thing. And I also think with COVID around the same time, I think there was just I don't know if it would have taken me 7 to 8 months, but it is what it is. Like, it was in COVID. Restaurants was probably the hardest space to get in at the time, so banks were just like, we don't know. But this is, again,
sense.
like when I made my decision to sign the document, I told myself, I just made a decision. I said, hey, Coop, whatever happens, you have to make this work. Like, there's no turning back. Once you put this deposit down, there's no refund. And so, like, I just knew there was things going on, and like I had seen Mahana Fresh open. They opened 2 locations during COVID, so I knew it was possible. It was just like, well, how long do I need to hold out? Who do I need to talk to? And I knew we had a great concept, right? Like, it wasn't like you're sit down, you have waiters. Like, it's a pretty, I would say the bank said, COVID friendly restaurant. And so I was just like, that's all I need. Like, as long as there's a chance, let's go for it.
Nice. Well, man, this is fun walking through this process because this is all new information, and we're starting to hear some themes of how this parallels with real estate investing, and then this is in the business world, this is the franchise world, but there's some really unique aspects you're explaining here, and some snares that you had to work through, and I love that you brought that back to who, not how, man. It's who you know. It's the connections that matter. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to dive into the numbers behind some of this stuff just to kind of get an idea what it looks like to get involved in a franchise like Mahana Fresh. So we'll be right back. Hey, wanted to take a quick break from this week's episode. Wondering if you ever ask yourself, how do I get started in this stuff? Or if I'm already doing it, what are some next steps or people that are doing the same thing that I want to do, people on this passive income journey? Well, we were getting that question, and we created a community of passive income investors called Passive Income University. This is a place where you can watch videos, things that we've done, where we put tools and information, where we've built a community of people that can communicate, ask questions, and grow together to start their passive income journey. And eventually we complete our passive income journey together. If you're interested in more info on Passive Income University, check us out at p25kg.com. Okay, we are back with Cooper Wahlo talking about franchise secrets. We've been diving deep into his franchise that he started in Fargo called Mahana Fresh. And Cooper, we want to dive into some of the numbers behind this stuff. I said earlier how many of us investors, entrepreneurs, are kind of walking into the fog with this franchise stuff. Like, we've seen it, but we don't understand how the numbers work at all. Like, we know how an investment property works, but this franchise stuff is foreign to us. So I just want to start by saying, like, how did some of these numbers work as you were going through this process? Because do you have to put anything down to get this process started? And then you get a due diligence period. And then you said you had to sign on the line, and like, it's over after that, non-refundable. So talk to me about some of that stuff.
Yeah. So, so there is a franchise fee that you have to pay, and I'm pretty sure that's pretty common. The big boys. I believe McDonald's is like you got to do like 2 million. Chick-fil-A is probably same ballpark. So ours wasn't that much. It was, right around 40-50K. Again, myself. My business partner, and then I also sold my duplexes, or my 2 duplexes I had in Macon, Georgia. I sold that to also put towards the down payment, because I just wanted to be focused, zero in, and then down the road, like I do want to definitely get back into real estate, and like this is also focus on building the brand, building enough stores so I can get back into more bigger real estate. As well. But yeah, so we put that down. And then what was pretty neat too, like with the SBA and franchising, is they count your franchise fee down, like deposit, as part of your equity into the business. So like when when we have to come up then whatever that final number is, like let's say it's 10% of 400K, right? Whatever you put down for your fee, they just include that then as your down payment. That's looked at as your equity. So I thought that was pretty cool. And going through the process, there were a lot of banks that just were like, oh nope, that's not going to count as your equity. So you just got to find the right bank, right? There's a lot of figuring out along the way. And as far as the numbers, I would say there's a lot of similarities with real estate and just business, right? Like you have to do your due diligence. You have to ask around. You just have to know some of your big ticket items. Like, what are the other franchises doing? Like, that was one question you can ask. Like, it's an open book. Like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing on a daily, weekly? What are your issues? What are your big expenses? And then get in the information. Then I used a small business, what's it called? The North Dakota Small Business Development, I believe. They're gonna kill me if I forget. But anyways, there was a guy that helped me put my projections together, and we basically used data from the other stores, like what they were doing for their numbers, and so those are the projections we used to give to the bank, so they could see like, hey, this is what we feel like we can do in the Fargo market, and then having this small development organization. It's a free service. They do a lot of the digging into like your industry and like what's happening here in North Dakota. And then they can give me a ballpark where they feel like based on what the other stores are doing in the other markets, this is what Fargo has normally like done for something similar to that. So,
wow.
Yeah, I just met a lot of great people. Like again, the projection size, I just kind of gave numbers from the other stores and those guys just kind of put it all together. And even helped me because we had to do presentations with the banks as well. And so they helped me like with the presentation. It was definitely stressful, but a lot of fun. I definitely had a lot of fun with people I met during the process.
Yeah, you got really good at pitching this thing. It sounds like
exactly.
You were like real life Shark Tank bankers on the other side of the table. Yeah. Like, let's do this. And it sounds like you had to fight through some adversity, man. So, I mean, This wasn't all rainbows and butterflies. This was a tough road. I'm sure you got some no's and there was some discouragement there, especially after you decided to focus in on this. This is your one thing. I think that was the power of your grit to find the right answer at the end too. So the small business aspect, you guys went that way out of strategy, right? Is that a lower down payment opportunity for for you to open up a business?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
And with the SB at the time, they were doing a few programs for COVID to help small businesses get open and stay open.
Nice.
But yeah, we went through the SBA because we knew we had the potential of not having to front so much money for the down payment. So
very nice. Okay. And I mean, when you put together the projections based on the other stores, at the time, maybe there's 8 now, but there was less than that back then. I mean, did you come across, were all these stores doing great and it was like, hey, this looks great? Or was there some risk with this? Like, did you see some stores that were like, oh, well, that can't be my store. And then there were some stores that were killing it. And you're like, how do we, exemplify that? How did that look for you?
Yeah. So the funny thing is these stores are all still pretty new. And so with anything being new, right, people are going to try it. People are going to come through the door. And so I would say there was no stores doing terrible. Obviously when we picked our projections, we picked something that was close to our market. And that just happened to be one of the stores that were doing it with like top 2 was doing the best revenue. And so like it was, you just got to figure, I guess, how should I say this? So you take the projections, you look at it, what these other stores are doing. And then in my mind, I felt like Fargo was definitely a place that needs this. I feel like we could get close to what they're doing in that, that Tampa store, that Brandon, Florida store. Like I feel strongly enough in this market that we can do that. And I trust myself and who I was bringing on my team. We can do this. Like, obviously we didn't set our projections on the top end, you obviously got to be realistic and give your, I don't want to say your worst case, but like you don't want to aim for the moon because you want the bank to take you seriously at the end of the day. But when we put our projections together, like I was more so middle of the road, I guess, between what all the stores were doing. We just kind of looked at it, took the average, and then, okay, what are closer restaurants to us in the same industry? What are they doing here in Fargo? And then the guys that put the projections together took that into account and put us where we needed to be for projections.
And so a part of this with your numbers and your loan is you find the space and you have to change this into what Mahana Fresh is right now, with beautiful, ocean blue tiles and quote walls and it's gorgeous in there. So yeah. How big did the renovation of this? I mean, I'm sure they had numbers behind that, but just so, like, how much money did that cost to get the space into what it is now?
Yeah, so the first thing is there's two types of construction. There's your first generation and your second generation. So like your first generation is brand new, dirt, like just a dirt and a shell. And that's basically what we did. So our loan was definitely, I would definitely say over 500 for sure. But again, there was just a lot of different things, a lot of moving parts with it just being a brand new space. A lot of my contractor had a lot of wheeling and dealing he had to do with all the contractors or subcontractors that he had to do. So it definitely was a shiny penny for sure. It was definitely a shiny penny for sure. But it was all like a learning lesson. It was all learning lesson. And then I hear what the other franchises paid for their entire budget. And I'm just like, okay, like I learned here. So then going into the next space, I know like what not to look for, and how to just get in for a lesser amount or half the cost. So don't know if that answer your question.
No, I love it because it's gonna make me dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
What were some of these lessons, man? Like, it's such a hard world to build something in with materials and even labor. What were some of the hiccups you ran into with getting your space to where it's at?
Well, just timing, like timing with everything, and just like understanding that there's just so many moving parts. I don't know. I don't want to be too vague on this answer because I don't want to throw anyone under the bus.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like you're already going to have a lot of moving parts already, so you want to make sure like you're going with the people that have already like done it, like that, just have an idea of like what's going on. So I feel like a lot of our hiccups was just with just a lot of things on the construction side that like we just didn't need to deal with. I feel like. But then just understanding like on the next space, you don't have to do a big first generation, because that was just me like, oh, like, yeah, all our locations are going to be from beginning, like brand new, like we don't want second generation. And then when I'm talking to my other buddies, like other franchisees, and they're telling me like, yeah, this is what we got in for. You got to be kidding me. Like, so and that's the thing, like, again, going through what I went through was great experience. Like I learned a lot. Where like now, we're looking at a couple other spots that I know we can basically make money on the buy, basically just gotcha. from knowing the difference between a first generation and a second generation. I know we could get in somewhere for 60% less than what we got into the first one.
And so again, that's such a cool term that I haven't heard before. First generation construction is like what you did with your store, where it was basically nothing and you turned it Correct. Into what it is. Second generation is modifying and kind of improving a space that's already existing with maybe an existing kitchen and things like that.
Correct. Got that on.
Gotcha. Okay. And how involved were you with the construction? You had a general contractor and you just kind of oversaw things, or were you pretty day to day?
my general manager also was along with this, and so she did a lot of the day to day with the contractor. And so like, I mean, if there was anything that we needed to spend or whatever, she would let me know. But for the most part, she was doing a lot of the day to day.
Nice. And so you had your general manager on board for this ride quite early in the process?
Yeah, and she's got a pretty cool story too. But yeah, she came on pretty early, pretty early, and again we had to work through some hiccups there too, with her and everything, but it worked out. But yeah, like when we got into construction, she was on the ground, helping a lot with the day-to-day stuff with that.
That's huge, man. And I mean, that jumps me into a whole nother topic matter of hiring. Did your franchise help you hire quite a bit, or is that a lot of what you did as the franchisee? How involved were you with that?
So I wouldn't say I was really involved, and the whole reason I brought on Tabitha, my general manager, is she's awesome. And you know, Kyle, you've talked to her a couple of times. She's got a ton of experience, and so she did a lot of the hiring. Mahana Fresh helps, I guess, where you don't have experience in something. And so and Tabitha had been on calls with them multiple times, so they knew her pretty well. So Mahana didn't worry about us when it came to hiring, because I had Tabitha. She's been in the food for 10 plus years. She's got experience. So she was fine with the hiring. So I was blessed in that way that I had a general manager that was awesome. And so she did a lot of the hiring during construction phase as well.
That's huge. And it sounds like that's a crucial piece of this, is finding that general manager person to be a vested interest in the whole process, even seeing it come to fruition and then getting the people there and obviously running the day to day. I always see her there, and so we fast forward from all that to now, whereas I walk in there this week, grab some lunch, and dude, the place is always busy. Everybody's, and I'm not just making this up. This place seems like it's successful from the consumer's eyes. Can you share with us, how have things been looking for you guys in month 1, month 2, month 3, just with where you were with some of those projections? And are you right on pace, or are you beating some of those, or you still have room that you want to grow?
Yeah, so we definitely, I would say we're doing fine right now. Obviously, sales are definitely beating the projections, but then we got some other things we got to trim, right? So we're still trying to figure out where that happy medium is. And this next month June is going to be a real telltale for us on where things are sitting. Because like I said, we're already kind of looking for another space. So, but again, the bank's got to see certain numbers, right? And so it's all just, getting things to mesh. And so I would say we're where we need to be right now, I would say. But I know where we need to go, we definitely got to make a couple of adjustments. So
nice. And is it right? Would I be correct in saying that you guys had one of the biggest opening days or opening weeks? You literally ran out of food, I think, right?
Yeah. So we beat the record. I believe it was by 12 bowls, 12 or 16 bowls.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was just one of those things. Again, I'm a really competitive guy. And so the night before, and what's cool about Mahana Fresh, they bring up a staff to just help train, for 3 weeks. So about a week and a half, they're training before the store opens, and then they stay about another week after this, after the store opens. But yeah, we were talking the night before, what do you think your store is going to do? I was like, well, who has the record? What's that number? And they said the number, and I was like, okay, let's go for it, and halfway through the day, the president that's here, he comes to me, he said, you might not have enough food. I was like, what do you mean? I was like you guys are crushing it right now. You might not have enough food to be open tomorrow or Monday. And so the day gets done, we're fine. It was literally my manager and I, we talked like after, we stayed up. I even talked to my business partner, like what the thoughts should be, but it was just depending on when we wanted to run out, because we had a truck coming. Well, our truck at the time was scheduled to come on Tuesdays. We called our reps like halfway through Saturday, like, hey, can we get another truck for Monday? Monday.
That's awesome.
So we closed Sunday just because we like, it was a great learning experience, and I just want to make sure like, hey, we just got to keep up with the demand. And yeah, we haven't like been closed because of food, and we've been blessed with like everything that's going on in the world. But yeah, grand opening day was crazy. We did set the new franchise record. To answer your question, got a little long-winded there.
I love it. That's a cool story, and it's a testament to what you guys are doing, and it's a testament to the heart piece there. Like, you guys know you have great food. I know you've been repping what you guys are up to, and I think that's important with a franchise. It's a small business. It's your small business, especially in the service industry of food. Man, that's a very cutthroat business to be successful in, or it's thriving or suffering. It seems like with a lot of different places. So I mean, if I have you put your investor hat back on, and you tell me, when you invest in this thing, you put your time into it, you're looking at new stores, like, what is it when you put your initial investment in, when are you trying to, kind of recoup that money? Is that like a 3, 4, 5 year projection, or is it a little longer than that? Like, what's your kind of investment side of the numbers?
So when I first got into this, I was big-eyed again, like, okay, we could probably do it in the first year, maybe. Like, we could. There's definitely potential there. But like, as we got into things, started seeing things like, maybe 3, maybe 4 years. It's definitely a lot quicker. When I was doing my real estate and like the deals I were doing at the time, I just knew I needed a quicker way to get my money back plus some to be able to reinvest it back in, right? And that's why I went into franchising. So like, definitely the rate of return is a lot better in franchising if you set it up right. If you set it up right and you do it right. Like, again, you can hear all the horror stories, like in any industry, right? But like, if you set the franchise up right, like, your rate of return on when you get your money back is usually a lot quicker.
Yeah. No, that's super cool. Even for you to say like, hey, we might be able to get it in our first year, and I think that goes into, you have a adjustable scale based on your success. Like, your success is kind of limitless. What do you think people do right and wrong when it comes to franchising? Like, what have you done right to get your numbers to be better? And what do you see people doing the wrong way that maybe makes their franchise suffer or break even,
That's a great question. I feel like just business in general, I feel like the leader, right? I feel like a lot of people aren't growing their knowledge on how to run a business. I think that's the big thing. I mean, I'm always reading books. I'm actually going to a course this weekend on just how to understand finances of your business. Like, as your business grows, you need to grow. And I feel like a lot of people don't do that growing. And so they just kind of cap out, or they just kind of stay stuck. So I'll definitely say, like, I've always been someone to try and grow my mind, and like understanding like I need to grow. So like, what mentors do I need to be looking up to or talking to that's done the thing I'm trying to do? So that I would say that's the second piece. And then I will also say, just understanding that your lifestyle, like, you have to keep your lifestyle like the same. Like, you can't what's the saying? You can't outspend your business. I think that's how it's saying. But basically, don't put your lifestyle ahead of your business. Like that's where also a lot of people go wrong, is like they start taking money out, like, and not putting it back into the business, and then you look at the end of the month and you're in the negative, and then you have to like find that money back. And so that's why, like, myself and my business partner, that's why we still have our jobs, is because we understand, like, hey, the money needs to go back in, because we want to be able to like grow this thing as quickly as we can, and as efficiently as we can, and we don't want to just be taking money out to just spend it.
Yeah.
So
man,
yeah,
that's huge tips, man. It comes into the business realm of it. It's not essentially doing one thing right. You kind of follow the steps and let the business run, but it's more the self-sabotage that I'm hearing can be the greatest effect on some of this, which is so true across investing and lifestyle as it goes. So I think a lot of our audience members might be thinking right now, what would be some next steps if I'm interested in this thing? You know, not necessarily Mahana Fresh or franchising in general. We're hearing some terms of like, hey, it's maybe a faster ROI potential than real estate investing, which a lot of our audience does. And what would you say someone would need to do to get started, or what would be next steps?
When it comes to franchising, or just kind of in general to get to that next level?
Yeah, where do people go from here if you're listening and this is really sparking some flame of passion inside the ears of a listener?
Yeah, so like I would definitely say just understand your strengths and weaknesses, I think, is the first thing. Like, what are you good at? What are you not good at? And is there a business out there that you can bring some type of value to? I would definitely like start there. Just understanding yourself and what it is you want to do. And so that's the first thing, is just understanding you and what value you can bring to a business. I just lost my thought on the second thing. And then just getting educated, just understanding, like, I don't want to say money, but like we live on an economic planet, right? Like, so money makes the world turn. Just understanding money a little bit, and reading books about money, and like books that even that might challenge your thought process. Like, I've read a lot of books in the last year that have just changed my thought on how I even see money, right? So just reading, getting educated, and understanding yourself. And then once you feel more confident in that, then start looking for the next opportunity, or like whatever that goal is that you have for yourself. So,
man, I love it, Cooper. That's such good advice. I hear you saying in this conversation things like how you focused and how you understood yourself, in that you have shiny object syndrome, like many entrepreneurs do. But you had your wife as an accountability partner to bring you back to focus, and you got rid of other things in order to create more here. I hear you saying, as your business grows, you need to grow. I love that quote, man. That's so important. And it validates one of the biggest principles we talk about, which is when your tide rises, all the ships in your harbor rise, which is, it all comes back down to you. You don't have a healthy business and an unhealthy person. Very rarely that happens. And so, dude, I hear so much of that with you. I hear you striving to grow, and that's probably a lot of why we see Mahana growing and being successful. So kudos to you, brother. I want to challenge the audience and ask, what's one action step you can take from the things you heard today? I think there's a lot of nuggets here that we've talked about. And write something down, take one thing away, and make sure you're taking action. Because that's what essentially got Cooper to where he's at, with hearing a podcast, Bigger Pockets Business, and then asking the questions, taking answers, and finding a mentor in that. So Cooper, so much good stuff. Thanks for being here. How do people interact with you, find you, and keep track of what you're up to?
Excuse me, sorry. Social media, I'm I don't say that. I say that humbly. But I'm Chisel Dabod on like Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. I think Facebook and LinkedIn have my actual name, Cooper Wahlo Jr. And then if you want to see what Mahana Fresh Fargo is doing, we also have an Instagram page, Mahana Fresh Fargo. Excuse me, sorry.
go dying on us, Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah, Mahana Fresh Fargo. We have an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page as well. And then I also want to plug the Mahana Fresh app. You can wherever, if you got Google Play, Apple Store, just make sure you download the app, because there's a lot of deals that go through the app. We can do delivery, we can do takeout through the app. So make sure you get the app. We're on all your popular third-party deliveries as well. And then we also have a podcast. Nothing too professional like this, but it's called Shipbuilding with Cooper and Caleb. Again, just we bring people on, we build relationships with people. I'm sure the name came from Shipbuilding. Just want to get to learn about people and their story and what made them successful as well. So yeah, I think that's everything. And then yeah, if you want to know more about Mahana Fresh, just mahanafresh.com, www.mahanafresh.com. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome. And we'll have all of those resources in the show notes, so you can check those things out and keep track of Cooper. And definitely check out Mahana Fresh if you're in Fargo and get some delicious food. I know Josh from behind the camera and I were talking after, hey, we got to go there. It's a place that I'm always at. I'll probably see you there. So Cooper, this has been so valuable. We appreciate your time. You're a guy that I see with a lot of excitement, a lot of vigor. You attract people into your world. I have a inkling that that's part of the success of Mahana Fresh, is that people just want to be around you and what you're doing. And I just think that's a testament to you shining your light, man. So thanks for doing that, and don't stop.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
This has been the Passive 25K podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future conversations. Also, tell us what you thought by leaving a comment below on today's topic. If something really hit with you, don't be afraid to share this with someone else that's interested in passive income. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll catch you next time for another episode of the Passive 25K podcast.